thought process now.
Working from home.
Working from home, right?
Yes.
They're probably not gonna open up a lot of their businesses back up. I think I told you this the other day, my brother-in-law works for a company out of New York, and he'll never probably go back to the office ever,
That's crazy.
because they've learned. I don't see anything.
Stop.
We'll make it work.
Much better.
All right, so we're talking about office space. Office space is obviously one of the big expenses that your company would have if you had an office. Okay, so what's included in office space? Notice here the rent. Okay, so you think about renting those kind of buildings. You're gonna save a lot of money because rent is not cheap for those kind of buildings. You think about little stores and stuff at the mall, those things are outrageous. Okay, so if you could, throw that out, that's a huge deal, right? Obviously, then we're eliminating, or we're talking about electricity, cleaning, insurance, and then maintenance. If you actually own the building, instead of paying rent, then you would have to think about, is it a mortgage thing? Or do I have depreciation on my property? Okay. Real estate or property taxes, and then obviously interest on my mortgage if I had a mortgage. So again, I probably wouldn't have the money to just buy that office building, so I'd have to have some kind of mortgage to pay for it.
Unless you're Donald.
Unless you're not, right. He can basically buy whatever he wants. So we're gonna look at that. So, it's a big benefit if you can get away with it, but what disadvantages would there be by eliminating that? What's the biggest disadvantage of eliminating your office? How about for your workers? What's the biggest disadvantage of? There's no communication, or the communication could be maybe more difficult, right? Or just their sanity. Think about if we would have not come to school all year this year, and how many of you would have done well in school? Right?
I wouldn't have done school.
Right. Some of us might have dropped out. Some of us might have moved on and done something else. Some of us aren't going to take anything as serious when we're not there, right? But just think about not seeing each other. Some of us, yeah, we could probably go without seeing some of us for a long time. But you just need that social interaction. That's a big deal too, okay? That's one thing that my brother-in-law complains about all the time. He says that he's the only one, he sits in front of his computers, which he would have always done, but he could have looked over or out the office and yelled at somebody about the YouTube video that he's looking at. Whatever, right? So he says, yeah, when his wife, which is my sister, gets home, he says he's like a little dog. He's jumping around all the time and wants to play, but everybody else is tired, So it's a really big thing. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, it about drove me crazy being at home from March, 17th to the end of the year, So, and that was only a couple months. Think about those kids on the coast. They haven't been back to school at all. That's a big deal, right? So we're going to think about that. So there are disadvantages of it, but we're saving a ton of money. And if we can get by with it, the people probably are willing to pay for some psychiatry sessions than what they had to pay in rent. I know it doesn't sound very nice, but that's cold hard facts. And then we're going to look at unit costs. So this would be like if we had a business and the business was split up into sections in a certain area of our thing. So how much does one department spend compared to the other department? If TIF is in charge of one department and has only 4 people that she's in charge of, does she pay as much of everything as Donald's department that has 65 people working for him? Or vice versa, you know what I'm saying? So you're gonna cut that down and see what costs for what they're doing. And then you're gonna also see, do I need that person at all? Maybe there's some, mid-management or even higher management positions that I can do without totally. Maybe Molly could actually do both of the jobs that Tiff and Donald do. So do we eliminate those 2 guys? That's cold hard facts too, right? I mean, that's business. Because right now, again, in the times that we're at, some of those people have to eliminate jobs in that category because, yeah, the bad thing is then Molly all of a sudden, she was working cozy, nice 38, 40 hours a week. Now she's taking over both, so now she's probably getting the same pay, maybe a little bit more because they divvied up that one, but now she's working 65 hours a week. So now all of a sudden Molly said, oh, I got a raise and I'm in charge of all these people, but she can barely walk through the door at the end of the night because she's so tired. She forgot about her fish and it died and whatever, right? But that's true, right? She doesn't even remember where she lives because she's never there, right? So we're going to compare sections of our own building, but we're also going to compare this to other buildings, maybe in our own company, but more importantly, probably to somebody else's company. So if Chloe runs the exact same kind of shoe business that we do, but she's way more successful, she's got to be doing something right? So we're going to probably send somebody into her store and see what she's doing. No, we're not. And so you got to think about all those things. Yeah, you got to scope out the competition. That's right. So turn to page 403, please. On page 403, letter A. An office with 2,600 square foot rents for $49,400 a year. Power, natural gas, and maintenance are estimated to cost $4,940 a year. What is the total if you don't have monthly scratched out and write in yearly? Please do that in your book. What is the total yearly cost of this office space per square foot? Okay, so how do I figure this out?
Add them all up and then divide by the amount of feet.
Add up what? When you say all.
The yearly rent.
Okay, so the 249 numbers,
Yep.
okay? And then I'm gonna do what with that number?
Divided by 26.
Okay, and that's gonna give me my what?
Total per square foot.
Okay, so I'm gonna punch that into my calculator, 49,000 plus 4,000, and then divide it by 2,600. And I get what? $20.90, right, per square foot. Okay, now, if one workstation has an area of 32 square feet, how much does this workstation cost per year?
Take the times 32, so that you're times 32,
Perfect.
which is 52.9. 20.9. Oh, I didn't multiply.
I was gonna say.
668.8.
Exactly right. So, you think about this now. Is having one workstation worth $670 a year? Right? Exactly. But think about then the other side of it. If I can eliminate $670 a year, that's only one. And I had 100 of them. Look how much money I saved. Right? It's a tough call, right? Letter B. A $40,000 square foot building contains a warehouse and offices. The offices occupy 10% of the building. The rent, power, maintenance, insurance, and other costs for the entire building are $1.2 million per year. How many square feet does the office occupy? Okay, so 40,000 times 0.1, so the offices are only 4,000 square foot, right? Then it says, what is the annual cost of the office space per square foot?
What'd you just use?
1.2 million plus the.
22.4.
How much?
22.4.
Say it one more time.
$322.40.
No.
Just do 1.2 million divided by 40,000.
Okay, here's the key to this whole problem. Everybody make sure you're paying attention to this. We're only talking about the office space. So remember, the 1.2 million's for what? The entire building. But how much is office space?
10%.
So I gotta first take 1.2 million times 10%. Because the office is only responsible for 10% of that amount. So then I'm gonna have 128,960 divided by my 4,000. So realistically, all Donald had to do is what? Move his decimal one place.
$32.
So you get $32.24. So you gotta make sure that you're doing it to the actual part that they're asking. So you guys were doing it to the whole building, they just wanted the office part.
So you found the amount of square feet it takes up, right? On
Now,
the first
4,000.
Yeah, so could you just do the, kind of like what we did in the first one, and just do 1.2 million divided by 40,000 and then times that by.
Absolutely. Point one. Yep, absolutely. Everybody hear what G said?
Yes.
Okay. Down towards the bottom, letter C. 3 workers in a document center produce this number of lines of text in a week. Emma did 15,000, Edwin did 13,000, Jose did 12,000. The total cost of running the center of the week was $2,257. How much did each document line cost to the nearest cent?
So you have to do this 3 times, or do you have it
Good question. Can I do it 3 times?
Well, it just says each document line. So I didn't know if it was.
So let's find the total number of lines, right? So let's add them all up and get our 42,000 lines. And then we're gonna do what with 42,000?
Divided by 2257.
Okay, so here's the question. Do I wanna divide by 2,000 or do I wanna take 2,000 and divide it by 42,000?
2,000.
Why?
Because it's the right
What?
Then it'd
Okay,
be-
it's the right math, but how did you know it was the
Cost
right
per
math?
thing.
What?
Because then it'd be cost per thing.
Right. Notice what it says. How much did each document line cost? So basically, we're saying the cost per line. The cost per line. That tells me the money over the number of lines.
Yeah.
So Donald's right.
0.0536.
So 5 cents basically for each line.
How did we know that?
Okay, so I'm gonna add up all the number of lines, the 15, 13, and 12,000. Because it says
How much lines?
how much does one line cost? So I gotta know the total number of lines. So, when you said I can do it individually, you could if you knew what each person's section cost.
But isn't it the same?
I don't think it would.
No.
That's just a running total.
Wouldn't we have to do each one? Separate?
Even after
2,257.
divide each one
Because
by
that's
the
a
total.
running total.
And then divide that by the 2257, and then take away.
Wouldn't we take the 2257 divided by 3 and then do that?
No.
Why?
Well,
Because what's the point of that? They
Because
want-
I don't think you could assume that's where you have to know is if they're spending the same amount on each section. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But notice that Emma did way more than Jose. So does that mean she was there longer? You know what I mean? So then realistically, she would have used more electricity.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying there? So I don't know if you can take that grand total of 2,257 and divide it by 3 equally.
There'd be no.
If you could, then what you're saying would work, then you just have to add all those up at the end.
There'd be no point to it though, right? Because it doesn't want specifically Emma's cost.
Right, right. But he could do it that way and then add them all up at the end if he wanted to.
Well, why doesn't it specifically want each
No,
one?
it wants total.
No, it just says how much did each document line cost, so you're talking about the grand total of document lines.
Aren't they each a document line though? That's what I'm confused about.
Not the three, the numbers are each one.
They produce document lines, each one did.
That's what
So
the
then you
thing
add
is.
up each document line.
Yeah, I just don't think I know what a document line is.
Yeah,
so-
it's a really weird product for them to.
I thought a document line was like them doing like everyone, how they say workers are all in a line.
Oh,
No.
no,
No.
no.
So.
To me, this would
document
be,
line is like files.
this would be
Yeah.
like a line of code or something.
Oh, okay.
When they say the, number of lines of text, they're each writing a line of code for something.
Okay. I just.
So,
I didn't-
Emma did 15 lines of code, or 15,000. Jose did 12,000 lines of code. And they're asking us, what did that cost the company for the entire week of all that code together?
Yeah, it wouldn't work if you even tried to do it divided by 3.
Yeah,
And
I
then
just
did it
missed
divided by 3, and so Emma would have made like 0.04 or 0.05 cents. And then Edwin would have done 0.055, and the answer is 0.05 cents. So it wouldn't even work, you'd add up over
You could just add them all together.
Unless you, yeah.
10 cents.
Then you would have to add
It
them all
added
together,
it together,
divide
divided
by
by
3
3 again.
and then you would probably.
Gotten close.
I just thought.
So what did we do? We added them and then divided by
We did it again,
2,000?
once you
Yeah.
divide 2,257
So we
by
added
3,
those numbers together.
Yes.
2.33.
And then we took 2,257 divided by that amount.
No,
Okay? We would have done this.
Just tell them it's a different product.
we do it differently.
What was the amount? Anybody do that?
It's 2,257. And then, what are we doing this divided by 3 at the beginning?
No.
No.
Divide by the.
What was that
Oh,
total
the
number?
total was 42,000.
42,000. That's all I'm doing in that problem.
You add up the 15,000, 13,000, and 12,000.
Document line is the problem.
Is the problem.
So it's like pairs.
We need to go to a different question.
And
It's almost just thinking about a line of paper.
Alright, let's try D then. Alright, copy paper costs $4.15 per ream. But in a ream, there's 500 sheets. Okay, when bought in a case of 10 reams, the same paper costs $38 per case. What is the cost per ream when buying a case?
So one case is $38.
One case.
One case.
But what is one ream then if I
One
buy a
ream
new case?
Is 500 sheets.
$3.80.
Just divide 38 by.
Right. This one, you're just taking 38, because it was $38 per my case. You understand what a case is? It's a box.
Yeah.
So in that box back there of those books, if that was my paper, I take one thing out, and that's $38. So then if I divide by 10, I'm asking, what's that one thing cost? Sorry, the whole box costs $38. What is the one package of 500 cost? So I'm taking $38 divided by 10. Okay, what is the saving per ream when buying a case?
4.15 minus whatever that 38 divided by 10.
$4.15 minus my $3.80. So I'm saving $35.
It would help if we knew what like these things were.
$35.
Sorry, 35 cents. 35 cents. Per ream.
Moving on.
Okay?
We're done?
You
That
don't know
was
what a ream of paper
These
is?
examples are so
No.
weird. Why? Those last 2 examples were dumb.
Yeah.
They're easy.
They made it way harder.
Yeah, they did it way more than they had to be.
I just don't know what those things are.
You just don't know what a ream is?
No, I've never heard that before.
Really?
Really?
You know, there's just too many weird like reasons.
When you guys, walk by the teacher's lounge, we would buy paper the same way, in a big box, and then each, inside the box will be reams.
Yeah, I learned that
I
from office.
carry those.
Are we allowed in this? No, we don't know what the rings are.
Learning on the paper.
Alright, we still got about 20 minutes. Good. Evidently, we gotta do extra problems on this one, because we didn't understand.
I love
Eric, felt pretty good today.
Yeah.
get 350 for, he made me do 4, but the last one I definitely did not do by myself, he has numbers on it.
Oh, no, Red didn't bench.
I do not count that, I did 350 for 3.
About that one we do in your
Yeah,
ear.
Red did 2.
That one kind of doesn't work all the time.
He asked me, he's like, before I was about to ask him.
It does it?
He's like,
No.
"What'd you get?" I'm like, 350 battery.
Yeah, battery, these are recharged.
I mean, shoot, I said shoot that.
We did that.
Shit,
Oh
shit.
my god, Chelsea, my parents took her
I
phone.
think
She
she's
was
too little.
cussing.
It's it.
Took her phone away for like 3 months, she didn't get it till Easter.
We
Yeah, you should call me.
You and us?
I'm texting.
That's ridiculous.
I was like, you're stupid. You knew they were gonna say that when you played it.
Why do they care that much about cussing?
Because he's a deacon. My parents don't like cussing. And then my dad's like, oh, cuss?
Do they know that you do it like a sailor?
I don't cuss like a sailor.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, do you